Welcome, friends of the Terraverse TV. My name is John Altrelli. I'm going to talk a little bit about Flag Day. On Flag Day, we come together to honor and celebrate the symbol of our nation's unity and freedom. The flag is a powerful symbol of American identity and values. The American flag, with its stars and stripes, represents the enduring spirit of liberty, justice, and the sacrifices made by countless individuals to uphold those values. Let me provide a little history of our flag. On June 14, 1777, the Second Continental Congress passed a resolution stating, resolved that the flag of the 13 United States be 13 stripes, alternate red and white, that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation. This resolution established the basic design elements of the American flag, 13 stripes and 13 stars. Betsy Ross, a Philadelphia seamstress, is often credited with sewing the first American flag. According to her family lore, she was visited by George Washington, Robert Morris, and George Ross in 1776 and was asked to create a flag based on a sketch by Washington. This has never been completely confirmed, but it is an interesting story and something that most people believe is how the flag was started. In 1794, the flag was modified to include 15 stars and 15 stripes after the admission of Vermont and Kentucky to the Union. This version of the flag flew during the War of 1812 and inspired Francis Scott Key to write the Star Spangled Banner. I will put a link below to a YouTube video that will help you never forget the meaning of our flag and our national anthem. It is one of the most moving videos that I've ever seen about the flag and about the national anthem. And if you watch that, you're going to really already don't love our national anthem, our flag. I think if you watch this video, you're going to change your view and you're going to become a much more patriotic person because of what people did at that time to save the Union and what they were willing to sacrifice. So I'm not going to be a spoiler alert here, so I'll let you watch the video. You'll be very happy. And then in 1818, Congress decided to revert to 13 stripes to honor the original 13 colonies while adding a star for each new state. So the modern flag has 50 stars representing the 50 states and 13 stripes representing the original 13 colonies. In 1958, as part of a high school project, Robert G. Heff designed the current 50-star flag. His design was chosen out of over 1,500 submissions following the admission of Alaska and Hawaii as states. So poor Betsy Ross, she's not really the proprietor of the modern flag. It was Robert Heff. And then just to close on this history lesson about the flag. So the stripes represent the 13 original colonies. The stars represent the 50 states. And the colors, red symbolizes valor and bravery. White symbolizes purity and innocence. And blue symbolizes diligence, perseverance, and justice. So that's our story about the history of the flag. Today, just because it is Flag Day, and as you probably know, I do these little video clips for some of the major holidays, try to remind people about the holiday itself, the history of the holiday, because as you know, most of these holidays have become more or less commercial. You know, it's like selling cars, selling this, selling that, and a lot of the meaning of the actual holiday has gotten lost. And even myself, sometimes I need to remind myself about the holidays. So I've decided that each of these holidays, I'm not going to do every single holiday, but sort of the main ones, the main federal holidays, to try to just remind people of the history so that they can reconnect with the meaning of the day. And maybe when they go about the celebrations, they'll be more cognizant of, of why we are having those holidays, and hopefully they'll not be so interested in buying a new, barbecue pit or whatever, and pay more attention to the what they should be commemorating on that day. The other thing I want to talk about a little bit is all of the dissents and controversies surrounding the American flag. As you probably know, over the years, whenever we have some internal dissent, either in our country or people around the world want to take issue with the United States, one of the main things that they do is to burn the flag. And that's a very disrespectful act to any country, to anyone's flag, is to burn their flag. So, people in America should be upset when they see people burn the flag, even if it's in, some sort of dissent to what America stands for. If they think that burning the flag is the right thing to do to voice their dissent, I can't necessarily stop them, or do I want to stop them? No, I think it's an amendment, a First Amendment right. But I would hope that the people that do it understand the meaning of the flag and what they're sort of desecrating, and that the reason for, excuse me, for desecrating it is worth it, because the people who died and for that flag did it for all of us. And hopefully, even though you may not be happy with the political situation as it stands, or whether you think the government's treating you right, or whether we have systemic racism, all the different things that people find an issue with potentially America, and they want to voice that by burning the flag down. Think about it, okay? And think about whether that's the best way to show your discontent with the government. Is there a better way, like maybe voting for people that are aligned with your interests? Speaking out. I mean, everyone has a platform today, so you can get on, TikTok, YouTube, or whatever, and you can voice your concerns that way. More meaningful way where people are likely to listen to you. At least I would be more likely to listen to you if you were willing to talk about it rather than burn the flag down. I'm not likely to listen to someone I watch burning the flag down and then can't explain exactly what their discontent is. So just something to think about. I mean, I'm not telling you, if you really think that's the way to go and you need to voice your discontent that way, then do it. And the same thing, by the way, the Supreme Court, just so you know, has ruled that flag burning is protected under the First Amendment in the Texas v. Johnson 1989 case. And attempts to pass a constitutional amendment banning the flag desecration periodically arise in Congress, but none of them have ever gotten very far in traction. And in America, you can tell there's a very deeply divided opinion on flag, using the burning of the flag as a legitimate form of protest. And I would say, there's some of that maybe age, some of it maybe people who used to be in the military, like myself. We tend to be much more protective of the flag. I can't say for sure, whether it's a generational thing or not. I remember when I was young in the 70s, there was a lot of flag burning then. So it's not, not that my generation didn't do it. We certainly did. But I've never thought it was a good thing. Even when I was young, I didn't think so. Of course, I did go in the military as well, and that made it even, I was more proud than ever of our flag. So I've never, ever would consider desecrating the flag, knowing what the price that people have paid for it. And then in terms of the national anthem, that's sort of, I'll tie that in, even though this is not National Anthem Day, but Flag Day is tied deeply to our national anthem. You may not remember back in the days of the, I think it was the 60s, maybe it was even the 70s, the Olympics. One of the first starts of protests about our national anthem, there were a lot of Black athletes who were trying to raise the awareness around civil rights abuses and racism. And they started to hold up their fist at the national anthem when they were on a podium where they were winning a medal for the Olympics. And that was the earlier protests. And then in about 2016, the famous NFL player Colin Kaepernick, started the kneeling during the national anthem, and that became sort of a generalized form of protest about racial inequality and potentially police brutality. So that's another form of protest that people have. And I'm not saying I don't think people should have the right to protest, and they should, and they're right about some of these issues for sure. I don't know if I can agree always to the extent or the magnitude of it, but it would be fairly naive to suggest that there are not racist people in this country or bigoted people in this country, and it would be sort of naive also to say that certain minorities are maybe treated differently, particularly by police and maybe stops. I mean, there's a lot of evidence out there for that. It may not be as ubiquitous and as systemic as people say. I've actually looked at police statistics, and they're not nearly what you would expect given the news media coverage. And at some point I may do a video on that, and we'll talk more in deep, get into the statistics. But nevertheless, the point is, hey, I know people are going to use the national anthem and the flag as a way of protest. That's understandable, but it's something people should consider. Is it the proper way? Is it the best way? Are you really furthering your agenda, or are you just dividing the country? Because the people that may not like what you're doing aren't necessarily bigoted or racist. They may have that may not be their issue at all. They just love to support America, our concepts, our values, and they see any attack on that as being an attack on everyone, whether they're part of the problem or not. And I think that's why people tend to get a little bit more disgusted over those types of protests. Again, it is what it is. You do what you have to do. If that's the only way that people believe that they can have their voices heard or to have people pay attention, then I understand the motivation. But I also would hope, and that's why I do these little clips, that people go back, take a look, see what really, what people really put on the line for our country, and people continue to put on the line for our country. And I would hope over time that people come back together and share the same values and work on those things that we're not doing about our country, things that we're not doing well, inequality and racism. There's a lot of things that we can work on to be better as a country, without a doubt. And that's something that I'm hoping that people stop yelling at each other, stop accusing each other of being, bigoted or racist or white supremacist or having some kind of privilege that doesn't exist, or doesn't allow other people to get ahead. These are hard to overcome if that becomes the state of mind of people, and they're not willing to sort of reach out to other people and sort of get them to understand their perspectives. Why are they hurting? Why do they feel this way? And try to get people to treat them with human kindness rather than political divisiveness. So that's sort of my thing. I don't know if it matters or resonates with anyone, but as I get older, I have a lot of empathy and a lot of desire to see younger generations do well to achieve what they want in life. And I don't mean that that's across the board. It's not limited to any race or ethnicity or gender identification. It's everyone. I want everyone to sort of reap the benefits of what it is to be American. It's the greatest place in the world, in my view. I've been all over the world. I've seen a lot of different countries. I've seen a lot of different societies, and with all the flaws and the warts and the issues that we have here, very, very few people would rather be somewhere else. That's why we have an immigrant problem, because we have people that want to come and everybody wants. There's a reason for that. The reason is this is still the best shot. And we need to continue to make it the best shot. We need to make sure everybody has a shot. And I don't worry about the billionaires. There's a lot of people worried about. There's only 3,000 in the whole world. Okay, so let's stop worrying about it. There's 8 billion people, and there's 3,000 billionaires. If you think you're going to take their money away, or you're going to do whatever you're going to do, it's not going to happen. You can pass all the tax laws, all anything you want. At the end of the day, focusing your whole world view on, going after the rich is a waste of time. What you should be doing is figuring out how to make yourself better, how to improve yourself, how to make yourself more valuable, and improve your life. And you will be paid, rewarded for that. And you may not become a billionaire. What are the chances, right? 3,000 out of 8 billion. It's like the chances are ridiculous. No one's going to get there. And stop trying to be a billionaire unless, try to be great. And then maybe you will be a billionaire. You don't need to sort of have that as your aspiration. And we don't need to knock those people down that made it. A lot of the self-made billionaires in the last 30, 40 years were people who created amazing technology and products that we all benefit from. And maybe they should be worth $1 billion or more because they did something that was extraordinary, game changer for the whole world. We all benefit from those things. So let's be careful about, the attacks on that and pay more attention to improvement of each other and ourselves and giving other people a shot. So that's sort of my little thing on Flag Day. Got a little bit off topic, but it's Flag Day, national anthem. To me, it's just another day to celebrate America. It's another day to celebrate each other. It's another day to remind ourselves of what lucky we are to be in America. And I would hope that at some point, we find our way to having a much more cordial, the discussion amongst people with different disputes, and that we do work harder together to help each other. So God bless. Happy Flag Day. I love America. I hope you do too. Talk to you next time.